It's Wednesday, December the 10th, 2014. Welcome to the show with no name. I'm Bob Going with Jim Nicosia. Gavin Murdoch had other things he needed to do today, so we'll excuse his absence or give him a 2-hour delay or something like that. All right, we have a special guest today. Announced mayoral candidate, Michael Villa. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's get right to the hard stuff. Tell us about yourself.
Simple resume. I got married in 1980. Shortly after that, I was employed at Coleco Industries as a production controller. From there, in 1985, I became an Amsterdam police officer. And I started my career as a patrolman. And in 1991, I was promoted to detective. I was involved in a homicide case that I responded to. And from there, in January of 92, I got promoted to detective. And stayed as a detective until 1998. And I was promoted to sergeant as a patrol sergeant until my retirement in 2005. And currently, I am the supervisor in charge of welfare fraud for Montgomery County. I actually have participated in that during my career as a police officer. So I have actually been there since 1998.
Wow.
And yeah, another career. And I was put in charge of it in 2010. And I think from that point on, we were able to make the changes that we thought we needed to make the unit more efficient, definitely more accountable. And I think the results have shown that.
Now, you just moved to Amsterdam recently, right?
I was born and raised here. Again, I spent 20 years as a police officer here. When my kids moved to Saratoga area, my wife had left Liberty after 16 years and pursued employment at Saratoga Hospital. So the decision was to be closer to the kids. And I'll tell you, it gave us an opportunity to take a step back, to see things from a different perspective. From Saratoga to Amsterdam, having lived here, worked here, and then moving to Saratoga, it's quite a change, and I don't mean that in any kind of derogatory manner. I just think
it's different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's not Amsterdam. It never really felt like home, but we were close to our kids, close to our grandkids, and like I said, the opportunity it gave me was to see. If you look at how Saratoga is run, every agency that you come in contact with is the utmost professionalism, from the DPW worker to the police officer to the firefighter, and I really took that in. The way they present themselves, the way they talk to you when they have interactions with you, I really appreciated that. And I hope that's something that we can do here, given the opportunity to change the perception, to change the vision that people have sometimes so negative of us. And that really hurts me because you grow up here and you look at the old pictures of Amsterdam, and I knew how much I loved Amsterdam when I lived here. And hopefully we can bring some of that back. But
you're talking like you were gone for 25 years. But,
six and a half. Actually.
And you were here like every weekend.
I was here every weekend,
right? Because both of you had both parents here.
Exactly, and I worked in Fonda, so
yeah.
So I was here more than I was there.
Right. So it was just a bedroom community. Saratoga was a bedroom community.
It was a nice stop off for a short time. But I knew.
I've been following you on Facebook, and you could tell that you didn't need Rich Wansky's weather reports because you had Mike Villa complaining every morning about how he had to go to Fonda.
That's a tough drive. That's a tough drive. Now, unfortunately, my wife has to make it now. So.
She's still working up there.
Saratoga Hospital.
You know, well, so it was a trade.
It was, but she's close to her mom, who unfortunately is in nursing home. So here in Amsterdam, so that's a benefit that she can get down there every night.
And of course, you were born here.
Yes.
Both your parents were from here.
Yes.
And I mean, we should mention, in case somebody's living in an alternate universe, that your father served 3 terms as mayor of the city of Amsterdam.
Yes, he did.
And when you were at an impressionable age.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He took office about the time you got married, right?
He did in 1980 as mayor, yeah. Well,
and it was alderman before that.
Yes. And in between he was a supervisor for a couple of years, so... coincidentally, I think he was the same age as I am right now when he started his first term.
Is that right?
So
wow, that's great. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's funny how you put that perspective on. I like to, when I try to figure out how old people are, I try to think of what year it was when they were my age. You know, and wow.
Yeah, it's.
John Gomulka was 65 before he took office for 12 years. Yeah. He was 65 when he ran. Yeah.
We're looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be a big challenge. It's a lot of work that we know we have to do, but it's something that I firmly believe in, and hopefully.
I got to tell you, it was a bolt out of the blue when I first heard you were running. I don't think there were any way that you growing up in a political family that any way you would run for office in a million years. You know?
I know, right? Everybody tells me that. But
having your father as the former mayor in the city, what do you take from that to that's going to help you in your campaign or your mayoralship?
Well, I think if you look at my father's record, his knowledge is amazing. To be honest with you,
it is.
He's 91 and. His knowledge of the numbers inside that budget.
Oh yeah,
and
I know.
The thing I take away from him is he has this unbelievable love for Amsterdam.
Yes,
and he really just wants to see the best for it.
Yeah.
And if I can impart some of that, hopefully we can give back a little bit and be somewhat like he was.
Well, if any of it rubs off on you. The city would be in great shape when you're elected.
He's a great source of information, knowledge, advice, and I try to take that. But again, look, I'm in a different era than he was.
Yeah.
Things are a lot different today, and so I take what he has and I try to form what I have, and hopefully. That becomes a complete circle that we can bring forward and move Amsterdam forward.
We had him on a few weeks ago, and it was just astounding. You know, Mary, my wife, who was a classmate of yours, ran into him in church the other day, and she said, "You know, I thought that was Mario Villa, but he looked your age." And of course, he's bounding up the aisle. You know, I mean, he is absolutely a spectacular image of health.
And I get a call every day. So I get a call every day. We talk about all different kinds of things, and he tries to give me as much information and knowledge that will assist me. And then it's up to me to process that and use it.
But it's good to have that institutional knowledge. You know, you can't go into a job like that cold.
No.
Because if you don't know what came before, all the great solutions you think you got in your head, and it turns out they've already been tried, and you got to know why they didn't work.
We're in the process of like taking in as much information as we possibly can.
I noticed on your website you've put quite a bit of emphasis on the city's financial condition based on the financial reports from the state. You want to comment on some of that?
That's definitely. I think the three key components of our campaign is going to be leadership as being number one, accountability, and financial responsibility. And I think when you combine those three things, you have all the necessary components to make everyone on the same page. And I think it starts at the leadership role. If you look back, the mayor's first budget was 2008 to 2009. And I'm gonna defer to notes just because I'm speaking about numbers. So, give me 1 second. I just would like to read a short quote from the 2009 audit report issued to the mayor and to the city, and it was by Stephen J. Hancock, the deputy controller for the state. And again, this is dated June 23rd, 2009, approximately 18 months into the mayor's first term. We found that the city's significant revenue and expenditure estimates may not be achievable. We estimate that the city's 2008-2009 deficit will be $860,000, almost 7 times higher than the city's estimate of $128,000. So my question would be, in the charter, if you look under section C-121 under appropriations and reduction, if I may quote, if at any time during the fiscal year it appears that the revenues available will be insufficient to meet the amount of appropriated, the controller shall so report to the mayor, who shall report to the common council without delay the estimated amount of the deficit, proposed remedial action taken by the mayor and or the controller, and their recommendations, if any, for further action. The common council shall take such action as it deems necessary to prevent any deficit. So I would like to know what remedial actions were taken back then, which means where we are today. And it still goes for, if you read the audit reports of 10, 11, 12.
I think I can answer the question unless it was a rhetorical one. There was nothing that was done.
So I think that's where...
And nor the following year, nor the year after that. They had... And I blame everybody.
There's enough blame to go around.
They had this feeling that as long as we had something called the fund balance, it didn't matter what the annual deficits were. They were just appropriating far more than they were taking in, and relying on hitting up the fund balance later, which of course was also, kind of contrary to all our spending limitations that we built into the charter, which they since abrogated. So
I think that's a small example of where, listen, everybody that runs for public office, it's your heart and soul and mind are in the right place.
Right.
It's
yes.
You open yourself up to criticism, and everybody that does it should be applauded. I just want to expound on what the differences are between myself and my opponent, what I bring to the table, what I believe has not been done, not what's been done, and where we're going to be different. And accountability is a big thing. That means every department head has to be accountable for every single tax dollar that's in that budget. And accountability means you don't walk into a common council meeting with a clipboard and a piece of paper and just spout numbers off. This is 2014, soon to be 2015. We have to become a little more professional. We have to put together PowerPoint presentations so people can visually see what is being done. These are our expenditures. These are our revenues. This is our overtime. And what goals do they have?
You know, your father kind of invented the PowerPoint. Only it was
Was
with a magic marker
and a flip chart.
The flip chart with the news, and it was, you know, over and over. You just flip a next one over. Here's the pie chart. You know, it's all up there.
People need to see where the money is going,
right,
how it's being expended, and what are the department heads' goals. I would like to see a department head come in and say, "Here's my budget. We do a presentation, but these are my goals. Am I going to cut 5% from my budget in the following year? How am I going to do it? By streamlining, cutting overtime, maybe someone retires and we can pick up that position through by being more efficient."
Yeah.
So I think that's very important that a department head has goals. I mean, I had to do it at the county, on the county level. When I presented my budget to for financial review, we're a small unit. We're only 6 people.
Yeah, you're a small unit that saved more money than everybody else put together.
Well, a lot of that credit goes to the guys I have working for me, the commissioner who gives us his full support.
The commissioner works for you? Write that down, Mr.
Write that down. I'm sure he's going to be listening to this later. No, I mean, we've had complete...
If not, I'm videoing it.
Commissioner McMahon's been extremely supportive of us, and as well as the board.
Well, tell us about the job you have now, because I think a lot of people don't really... Well, first of all, a lot of people don't believe your job exists.
I know.
You know, they just think that welfare fraud is rampant. And
let me tell you, it's a very complicated set of circumstances, much different than simple penal law arrests that you make as a police officer. Right. This involves a great deal of. There's so many different laws that vary in every different program, whether it's SNAP, Medicaid, temporary assistance. Everyone has a different set of rules and regulations. So to fine-tune that, you have to have everybody on the same page. And we have a great staff of retired police officers and current police officers. And so the knowledge is there, the dedication is there, the accountability is there.
I worked with that department when Joe Prisblow was ahead.
Great guy.
You probably worked for him, didn't you, when you first started?
Joe. Yeah.
And it was amazing. I was social services attorney. It was amazing to me how much money was saved up front by never
opening a case.
Exactly. And that's something that you can't. You can't quantify and say we saved $100,000 this year by not opening this case, but by doing the investigation up front, and discovering they were ineligible before they got their first check, it saved.
That's the thing. The caseworkers at the county don't get enough credit. Really, they do a tremendous job. They assist us almost on a daily basis with just what you just said.
Yeah.
And then when you see the arrests in the paper, if you see an arrest that's just filing a false instrument, and you don't see a dollar amount, that's because just what you just said
it was caught before.
Because that case would have been open for 6 months. So you multiply out.
That's the way it used to be.
Each month times 6. So you save the county. So that's where we are.
Yeah, just because, at the end you get a judgment for that amount, try collecting it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is a big deterrent. I think we've come a long way as to where fraud is not so prevalent. And because we catch it at the application process, the amount of money saved is tremendous. And the deterrent is there. People on the out... I understand the misconceptions with welfare fraud. We're not able to, like a police department, like if you call the police department and you have a case, they can update you. They can say, we're looking into it, or we have a suspect. In the DSS world, we're not able to share. We're not even able to acknowledge that the client is open.
Right.
So we can't update the complainant.
Right.
And so a lot of times, a case may be solved civilly, where there's not the threshold for criminal, and no one will ever hear about that. So sometimes the complainant gets a little frustrated because
they went to all the trouble of reporting it.
Right,
and got nothing.
And we're not able to update them.
Right.
So I hope that message gets out there, and there are a lot of things that people with SNAP benefits are eligible for that people think are illegal that are actually legal. So it's.
Well, Jim's got 5 Obama phones himself, for example.
What is the SNAP program? What is the?
It used to be the old food stamp program. It's
Okay,
now
but-
supplemental nutritional
Okay, that's
program.
what some people don't
Yeah,
know
it's
what
a
that
SNAP
SNAP
program,
means.
so-
Supplemental nutritional.
That's a federal program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're guided by federal law, so anything that occurs under that you have to, if you're going to make any kind of arrest, has to fit into whatever the regulations are federally. So
Wow. Wow. And
But,
you've got
yeah.
how many people working for you?
I have 5.
5 investigators?
Yeah.
Wow.
They only work 15 hours a week. The only other one, Jim, has 18 hours a week, and I have 30.
You lucky dog.
Not me, my son.
I understand. The other Jim, yes.
The other,
The other
the other Jim.
He's still working, huh?
Yeah.
Jim, it's my right hand. I don't know what I'd do without him, so does a great job.
I say the same thing.
But yeah, I mean, the residents of the county should know that I firmly believe that for the amount of people that we have investigating fraud, we do as good a job. I'd put us up against any county in the state. We do an excellent job, and the county should be aware that their tax dollars being looked out for.
It's been a good department ever since Joe Prisball was there, I'll tell you that. I enjoyed
Mike,
working there.
what would be one of the first things that you would try to accomplish coming into the office? I know this is.
Yeah, it's January 1, 2016.
Yeah, it's-
hit the ground running, Mayor Villa.
Listen, I always firmly believe that you have to start on the inside before you can look on the outside. If your own house isn't in the manner you want it, then you can't obviously go outside. So to me, it would be some of the things that I could control, which would be how we represent ourselves to the public. We have to change that perception, and it starts simply with just being professional, being accessible. That means when somebody walks into City Hall or someone calls City Hall, someone's there to answer the phone or doors are open. I would really like to see that spread out through every department, where we all look and dress according to our job duties.
Do you approve of the mayor or a city representative coming on the radio on a talk show and taking some of the questions and giving some of the answers that should not be given? Do you approve of that concept? I don't believe in the concept myself.
Wait, I'm not sure I know what you're saying, Jim.
What I'm saying is that they shouldn't be on the radio.
Well, I disagree with you, because I think,
there's things that
letting the public have access to public officials is a good thing. But on the other hand, I also think they should answer the questions they're asked.
my expertise obviously is in the public safety arena. So there's things that I would do that I have ideas on what I would do, and so my job now is to learn the other departments, like I know public
Right,
safety.
okay.
And for me to be effective, and for me to be able to make suggestions or want to make changes, I have to learn these various departments the way I know the police department. And so that's going to be my job over the next 11 months, is to get as much information as I can and be as positive with that information, and try to develop what plan that I would want to put forward if I were lucky enough or fortunate enough to.
Well, you have an advantage. You have an advantage because of your involvement with the city and the police department and the county. So you have an advantage over other candidates that don't have any knowledge of the inside working. So you've got a big advantage.
If you look at public safety, it's a huge
biggest chunk of the budget.
Of the budget.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was a PBA president. I was a Superior Officers Association vice president. I worked on the negotiating team for the majority of my career, so I know both sides of the issues. And so I think that experience, again, gives me a little bit of insight when dealing with contracts.
And some of it's just basic skill, knowing how to manage. One of your father's great strengths is he knew where every dime in the budget was every day of the week. And he knew if somebody was, if one of his department heads was spending too much money on this, that, or the other thing, or whether we had enough available to do what we want to do. And if you're not paying any attention to that, then you might just as well, go to Florida and mail in your votes.
That's where accountability and fiscal responsibility have to. I mean, I don't believe you can have one without the other. Usually, if you're accountable, you're going to be fiscally responsible. If you're fiscally responsible, you already are accountable. And I think if provided with the right leadership, then we can do what's necessary to bring us out of this.
We got a couple of calls for you. You got your earphones on? All right. Before we do that, I should note that the Amsterdam Marching Rand's Light Up the Sky will reopen tonight. It was canceled last night due to the weather. I can imagine sliding through that driveway. Holy mackerel. We went the other night, and I got to tell you, we go every year, but it just gets better and better and better. I was stunned. And I kept slowing down, and there are cars behind you that... it was just terrific, absolutely terrific, and God bless the Selbert family for opening up their estate every year like that. Terrific. All right, this is WCSS. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Mr. Gore.
Good morning.
I have a question for you. Did you read about the proposal that the mayor has in the paper for saving money? And what do you think about her idea? I'm going to hang up and listen to your answer.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about? Well, I guess we don't know.
I don't recall
I don't
saving
either.
money.
Is that the $150,000 that I briefly read about somewhere?
I saw nothing myself.
Yeah, you better call back and let us know what you're talking about.
Okay, we don't know what you're talking about, caller. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Morning, Reverend Jim. How you doing this morning up there?
Hey, we're doing great. How are you, Paulie?
Hey, what's the old gasoline price up there about now?
Price of gasoline is hanging around $3, sometimes $2.99, $2.98. If you got one of those special programs, it goes a little lower.
Yeah.
Hey, Paulie, we got Michael Villa on here today. He's running for mayor. You want to ask him any questions?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I thought I heard him. I was at my neighbor's computer next door,
Yeah, so what do you want to ask him?
Well, I just hope he does well in the campaign, which he really should, and he should have ran a long time ago.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. You should have ran a long time ago, Michael.
I'm ready now, Paul.
That's right.
Okay.
And I just spoke. Oh, Bob, I want to ask you something. I want to tell Bob and Vito and Sarah thanks for the Christmas card.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Bob.
I'm sure he heard you.
Jimmy.
All right. Okay. Got that, Vito and Sarah? Thank you for the Christmas card. They know where he is.
They know. Everyone knows where Paul is.
Okay. Anyway, so you got that? Let's see. I don't even know what this $150,000.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know either. That one, I must have read it. I must have dismissed it out of hand because I don't remember it.
Well, I don't recall seeing it at all.
The latest items of interest, at least posted online and stuff, is about the recreation department with the. So that's.
That's a touchy one there. They're taking the vegetation out of the recreation department,
to DPW,
but they're not taking the employees out. I understand, and those employees were put on specifically for the vegetation. So if they take the vegetation out, then they should take.
Or move the employees.
Or move them. Well, I don't mean take them.
Most of the vegetation was done by the summer help, wasn't it?
Well, they hired people to do it. That's what I'm saying. They hired Well, I'm not sure whether they hired
So
a
that's stuff like
supervisor.
you don't have enough information on to really make a.
Well, that doesn't stop us from offering
I know,
our
you
opinion.
know.
No, I mean that's why.
I mean, it might be a perfectly legitimate.
Oh, sure, you gotta
Because we
I
know
would
every-
have to look at.
You gotta be
we know
responsible.
we
We
know
don't.
everything here. We know everything here, so that's why they call us on the radio.
That's right. We want to know all the information.
They call us because
This is the show with no name.
a lot of information.
Which, by the way, this is WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York. This is the show with no name, and I'm Bob Going with Jim Nikosha and our special guest, candidate for Mayor Michael Villa. Let's see. All right, how old are your kids now? Your three
I
boys?
knew he was gonna ask that.
They kind of line up with mine. I can give you some hints.
34, 32, and 29.
They line up exactly with mine now that I think about it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. 4 granddaughters. Oh. Christmas will be very busy.
Yes, we know. We know all about that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. He's a great grandfather.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and then I know you always have a house full, so yeah, we'll have that this year, and we have a much smaller home here.
Let's see.
I think we got 30, 31 coming for Christmas Eve
We can play the Amsterdam game. We're all related to each other somehow.
somehow.
Your brother-in-law is married to my second cousin, Jimmy.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Jim. Yep.
Is married to my second cousin. That makes
Cap.
us Gumbas.
Yeah.
And let's see.
I have.
No, Jim is related to what's
Yeah,
his name
I
up in
am.
Hageman. Up in Hageman, you know.
Up in Hageman, Chrome?
Laporte. Laporte.
Laporte, yes.
Yeah, Mike
that's right.
Laporte. You're related to Mike Laporte, and I'm
Right.
related to Mike Laporte.
Oh, there we are. See
So
that?
there you go. Mike is my third cousin.
And
Yeah. And then Gavin, of course, is related to everybody.
no, you're related to everybody. Yeah.
Well, let's
yeah,
see.
that's right. Gavin
well,
too.
let's see. This goes through your wife too, because let's see.
What's your wife's maiden name? I don't.
LeConte.
Yeah,
LeConte.
she was related to Tom LeConte, the fire chief, right?
Yeah, it's her uncle.
Her uncle, and her uncle, and his sister is married to John Brockie, right?
Yes. Yep.
Right? And John Brockie's sister Sarah was married to Dick Stark, who is Gavin's first cousin.
There you go. There you go.
There's lineage everywhere.
There you go. So we're all related.
We're all related.
You have an in with the show with no name, but then so does everybody else in this town. And if we had more than a half hour left, I'd tell you how you're related to Groucho Marx. But that's through me.
Oh boy. So what else? I'm trying to think of something else to ask you.
By the way, Joey Laporte married Danny Kobas's daughter, so you got the Fourth Ward vote sewed up too. All right, I got to say I was very impressed, Michael, with the fact that Santa Claus at the Knights of Columbus on Sunday put you on his nice list.
He did.
That surprised
He
me
did.
somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very nice of him. And he also told me who was naughty, but you know,
He did. Speaking of relatives of all of ours, we're all related to Santa Claus, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Have you been through the Light Up the Sky yet?
we're going this weekend.
Good. Gonna bring some of the grandchildren. Get as many people in the car as you can. It's
That's-
$5 is $5.
I only have one car seat, so I gotta be careful. We gotta do the
Oh,
chips.
there you go. There you go.
Well, that's all right. It's a good cause.
It
It's a
is.
wonderful cause.
It is.
Those kids have had some kind of lousy weather off
I
and
know.
on to be doing this, and they're out there this cold and miserable.
Yeah.
And, if you, I don't know if they tell you in advance, but if you honk the horn, they have to dance.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think they do tell you.
Yeah.
Well, they did last time I went.
They even gave me a treat for my dog. We took the dog along.
Nice.
You got a dog?
Oh man, do I?
Yeah. How old's your dog?
A very high maintenance dog, I might add.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He's 4.
4? That dog's only 4? You must have spent $20,000 on vet bills
It's
so
the
far.
truth. I have pet insurance.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
We got to look into that.
Because very early on, we knew that we had taken the dog that no one else would have wanted.
There
He
you
has
go.
allergies. He had all kinds of issues. So he's on special food.
Wow.
And yeah, he's a very high maintenance animal. He had surgery, ate a towel.
He ate a towel.
He ate a towel.
Must have been a Yankee towel.
So
a Yankee.
that was a $2,600 surgery.
Wow. You didn't just want to wait for it to come out the other end, huh?
He was all.
We've,
he had
we've seen some strange things come out the other end of our dog out there.
Well, yeah, so have I. $12 one time. So
Is that right?
a $10 bill in 2 ones.
And,
It is a crazy
And,
dog. He's the neighborhood.
did you recover them?
That was not my duty.
That wasn't my question.
I delegated that to someone.
Ah.
He sits in a window every day, and all the whole street, they're like, gotta come and see him. So
Really?
yeah, he's in the picture window, just sitting there waiting.
Well, you grew up on the south side. Where else?
Yeah,
Where else have you
that's-
lived in town?
And I'm back there. So when we got married, we were at 4 Lincoln Avenue, which was above
All right.
Cesario Insurance.
Oh yeah.
And then when my brother-in-law moved to Boston, we bought the house at 17 Lincoln. So that's where we were. And then we moved to Saratoga, and now we're on the south side again, up on New Street by Mount Carmel.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Different
Very
neighborhood.
nice, yeah.
Different hill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very nice. Enjoying it very much.
And your wife, of course, we mentioned, is a LeConte, and her mother a Delvinary. So you got a lot of relatives on her side of the family too.
Big
A
family.
lot of snow up on the hill this morning?
Nothing. It was like,
Nothing? There was up on the hill in,
they said Mineville, really.
no,
I don't
up
know.
at the medical center, there was snow on the ground. It must
Yeah, I
have
got
had
like a
an
dust.
inch or two.
Yeah, like a dusting. It snowed early, like 5 o'clock this morning.
Nothing on Guy Park.
Yeah,
No,
it's funny.
Yeah,
a little,
we got like a little dust, like maybe a half inch.
you know,
of snow.
I'm halfway up the hill, and I got a little bit,
Yeah.
but the
higher-
driveway was a little slippery. I
As
didn't
a-
know-
Nothing compared to what we're.
Not what they were talking
What we
about.
were expecting.
But they keep pushing it off, and like, we're gonna get it, we're
Yeah.
gonna get it, we're gonna get it. Well,
Well, as Caparizzo
Hope they're wrong
says,
again.
the higher elevations got
It's,
it.
it is really height dependent. This
Yes,
thing.
yes, it is.
It'd be just a little bit.
I mean,
of-
we got a lot of
elevation
rain
is-
yesterday. Man, that was.
Yeah. It was mostly freezing rain. It seemed like, or it was at least it was a cold rain.
It was a cold rain.
Yeah. I stayed in all day. It's
Well, we
miserable.
had a-
It's miserable when it's like this.
We had a Southside Veterans dinner over at Little Timo that I went with my dad with. It was very nice.
He was a veteran.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't get him to talk about it on
He
the air. I
never-
don't know if you heard that show.
he
but-
never talks about.
No.
You know, I nailed him one day. Up in Fonda at the old courthouse. I don't know what he was doing there, but I had I was doing my research at the time, and I saw him. I think maybe he was going to the Board of Elections or something, and I just nailed him. I said, "Hey, I know about this Bronze Star. Tell me about how you got it." And he said, "Walk with me." And I walked with him to his car. Your mother was waiting for him in the car, and he told me the story on the way. And that was it. He wasn't going to say any more about it.
It doesn't expound a lot on.
No, I was going to say he must have gotten a couple medals.
Yeah.
No, he did.
Yeah.
He got a Bronze Star for valor. He
Got a couple
rescued a
of
guy who was under heavy fire from the Germans. The tree fell on him in France.
Yeah.
While the Germans were knocking the trees down to slow the American advance from the southern invasion. Mario was in the southern invasion of France a couple of months after D-Day, like the 15th of August. They landed, and then they went all the way up the Rhone Valley and hooked up with with Patton's Third Army up above. So they basically conquered all of southern France in a matter of a few weeks. But the Germans were cutting down all the trees to stop them from coming up the valley, and this one soldier was stuck under the tree, and he said, "Just shoot me." He says, "Shoot me and get out of here. I don't want to be tortured by them." And Mario and another guy volunteered to go and lift the tree off the guy and get him out of there, all the while under fire.
Wow.
And after a while, the lieutenant who set them said, "Where the heck are these guys? They've been gone 15 minutes or something." So he comes down just as they're rescuing the guy, and the way your father told the story, he then turned to me and said, "And he got a silver star."
That's true.
And of course, he was at Anzio, where they were under fire the whole time. It was, for those guys who started off in Italy and then got sent to France, they were frontline troops for like 9 months or a year. I mean, they just, really no break to speak of. So.
Yeah, and that's there's not many left,
No. And we were talking on the show Monday. There were 28 Amsterdamians or something like that at Pearl Harbor, and there's one left.
Yeah. Sadly, that part of history is fading away, and it's nice.
But if you want to read about it,
I do. I want it. Actually, my wife wants the book, so.
Yeah, so you got to read. Where do we find such men available at?
You're on Amazon.
At Amazon, but also locally at the Book Hound and Peddler's Wagon and Walter Elwood Museum. So.
I'll be at Walter Elwood Museum.
Are you coming there Saturday for the open house?
No, actually, I'm going Friday to do an interview with Tim Becker.
Oh. Oh, all right. Yeah. Drop in on the museum while you're there.
Okay.
Have you been through the museum since they moved?
I haven't.
Oh, I think most people are quite impressed because it's not what they're expecting.
I haven't been since you opened up. I got to go.
Because finally we got enough room to spread out and display things the way they should be displayed, and it's very impressive.
Nice.
Very impressive.
Did you get to the Festival of Trees?
I did not. I saw that you were there. You were having a good time with Bob Scott and Sandy. Yeah.
So many nice people down there. It's a great event.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Is that still going on? It must be. Right?
I don't know.
No, I think it ended on.
Oh, jeepers! I missed it.
I think so.
I should have gone to the formal.
It was going on Sunday. I know that because when I went by, there was a lot of traffic there.
Last day.
The last day?
Don't quote me, but I think so.
I know Guy Park Avenue got a little narrower at that point. Most of last week. It's
all right. They did a nice job. It was really well attended.
Good. So many nice things going on.
Yeah.
Holiday season. I see you wrote a letter to the editor about continuing power problems. What is it? The Niagara Mohawk, a.k.a. National Grid, just give up on the south side, or what? This has been going on for years.
But really, this last year is really, since May, eight documented outages.
And some of them for pretty long.
Yeah.
And this last one, when it was really cold, it was like a full 24 hours.
And it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So you had the evening of Thanksgiving Eve.
That's a tough time.
Yeah, from about 11 p.m. right through to 11 o'clock the following morning, which we were supposed to cook, and so not just us. There were many. Yeah,
you and everybody else.
The 950 plus people had to make different plans, so it was a major inconvenience. And so at that point, then my dad, was 91. The temperature in my house was 59, and we're okay, but. The elderly, lucky it wasn't zero out or something. So, and a lot of people around me have generators. I don't have one, but a lot of people up there do, and that's the reason why.
Yeah.
But Generacs are.
Yeah, George Sandy got one a few years ago.
$5,000-$6,000 investment. Not everybody can do that, nor can everyone.
Nor should they have to.
Yeah.
So what was the technical problem?
Well, like the gentleman told me, apparently the main substation was destroyed during the hurricanes,
all right.
and so a temporary was put up, and
that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and so apparently it only had one line, so that anytime there was a trip or any kind of occurrence, there was no backup, so you would be out until someone either repaired it or...
Ordinarily, one of the nice things about living in Amsterdam is there's an awful lot of redundancy built into the power system here, and if it stops flowing one way, it starts flowing the other. But you guys are at the end of the line there, I guess, with a...
Apparently now there's 2 lines running in, and that, according to him, is going to alleviate a lot of the...
And when did the second line go in? Before or after Thanksgiving, so we can tell whether it's a crack.
I think it was before.
Yeah.
I was really concerned about this storm. I was figuring we'd be.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully,
the ice.
Listen, hopefully it's corrected. We'll see. I think we'll give them the fair shot.
Well, that was good of you to get right on it. I mean, you're not the mayor yet, but you certainly.
I think people want to have a genuine concern now that winter's, right on the doorstep, and are we going to be out of power every time? It seems like rain, wind, snow, like the 3 most common things we have is causes an interruption. So hopefully now a lot of that'll be taken care of.
Wow. Well, what's next for you? You anticipate any? Anticipate a primary or anything? I assume you're looking for the Republican nod, right?
Definitely, and we'll pursue all avenues that are available to us. The next step is we have a good base, and we're going to organize a fundraiser. We're shooting for sometime after the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, you don't want to...
I don't want to interfere with
between football and
Sunday
between
weekends.
Football and opening day, between the Super Bowl and opening day, it's a real dead time of year. I'll tell you.
So that's really
actually I may have a whole dead season coming up now that John Lester signed with the Chicago Cubs.
I saw that.
I heard from my Boston brother this morning, and needless to say, he is not in a good mood.
But
today.
they made a couple substantial signings.
They did. Now if only they had one starting pitcher, it would be really great. He said we got a pretty good 4 and 5. That's great. How about let's try on 1, 2, and 3 for now. But it also happened the same day that he got his season tickets, and now he has to decide which games he's going to keep and which ones are going to somebody else.
They have a great farm. I'm a Yankee fan, but they have.
I noticed.
Boston has a great farm system. They always
That's
seem
true.
to be able to plug someone in. So
Steinbrenner kind of destroyed the Yankee farm system.
I mean the core.
Calls on line 1, 3, and 4.
1, 3, and 4. Oh, calls. All right.
There you go.
All right. Oh, well, I guess I should turn around. This is WCSS. You're on the air. Hello? You're not on the air. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
2 down.
No? That's 2.
Yeah, you made them win.
This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Good morning. One of the things that bothers me is these user fee increases. Now, if Mr. Villa becomes mayor, is it necessary to keep on raising these user fees every year? I think a lot of people are losing their homes because of the user fee increases. They say that they're keeping the taxes under control, but if people are losing their homes because of these user fees, what good is it?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they have gone up. They went up considerably last year, and they continue to go up. And it's a point that has to be addressed at some point. As you know, we have a shrinking tax base, and more and more of the city relies on a smaller majority of people, and we have to address that. No matter how you're being taxed, whether it's city taxes,
whatever they call it.
Whether the user fee or we have to try and that's where we have to really pay attention to every single department, and we have to bring under control. Each department head has to be responsible for a manageable budget, and I think that's where it starts. And we can't.
You can't just start with saying, "I want to spend this much, and let's figure out how to get it."
Another thing
my
is,
dead grandmother could put together that budget.
Another thing is that some council members said they wanted to have a change as far as corporation counsel. Now that's not an elected position, yet they couldn't make a change or so. Do you think that the corporation counsel should have the right to, with a simple majority, to change who the corporation counsel is?
Do you mean should the council have the right to change the council?
The corporation counsel, the lawyer.
Yeah. Listen, the mayor gets to choose. You would want the mayor to be able to choose who they believe is best going to serve them. I mean, I can't. I don't want to sit here and be judgmental on why they chose who they chose. If the council has the authority under the charter to be able to make that change, then that's something that has to be derived from them. Myself, as mayor, I think you have to bring the council into the mayor's office. It has to be a joint. The controller's office, the mayor's office, and the common council are the three biggest arms of the government. And we have to find a way to work together. You're not going to be a successful mayor without getting along with the council. That's the legislative arm of government, the mayor being the executive arm, and the controller being the financial. But the mayor ultimately is the CEO. It has to be guided with leadership. And I think if you form a relationship with the council, then you don't have to worry about these things. But when we become divisive and we take personalities as part of it, then I don't think we do anyone any justice.
One other thing is the controller's position. He's going to be in office, I think, at the end of the year for his first year. He got in office because Mr. Ron, what's his name, Wisbicki had passed away. That's a 4-year term, but he got elected. It's going to complete the 2-year term. So I think his term is up next year when the mayor's term is run. Correct. Now, the council says, we don't know how much money's in the till, but they keep on raising my user fees anyway. I mean, there's something wrong. If you don't know what's in the till, how can you raise the fees or my taxes?
Yeah, it's a great point, and it's where our campaign is going to be primarily focusing on is the financial aspect of where the city was upon the mayor taking office and where we are today, and what has been done, what has not been done, and how can we address contracts, how can we address long-term plans if we don't have a financial status that's updated. If you look at her states of the city, you really don't see anything that pertains to the financial status of the city. So I think we have to get back to where we are. It has to be corrected. The finances have, I mean, if you look at the mayor's editorial, the claim is that our finances and the controller's office has been under duress and it's been out of control for the better part of a decade. Well, she's been mayor for 7+ years. So there has to be accountability there. And as the leader, it's up to the mayor to really guide the council and make decisions that are going to change the focus and where we are financially, and I haven't really seen any of that done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Chet. This is WCSS. You're on the air. Hello?
Somebody's arguing.
Boy, we got some impatient callers, I'll tell you. Jeez. 843-2500 is the number. You got maybe time for one or two calls if you make it in here. That was probably the same two people I hung up on before. Calling back and they hung up again. All right.
They'll find you.
We will be back on Monday with a 2-hour show, but Michael won't be here. He's, you got things to do, right? I mean, you still got to.
I still have a job to do.
You still have a job. Still got to save money for the county. For the county taxpayers, and we're all county taxpayers.
Yes, we are.
That's right.
Yes, we are.
We all have the same interests, so we want to all see Amsterdam prosper. That's
I've used I realize you work and don't often listen to the show and are not always privy to my wisdom, but there's a statistic I quote once in a while about how in 1960 the city had a foreclosure of tax foreclosure, and they hadn't done one in 9 years. And this is like 5 years after Bigelow Sanford moved out, and the town was devastated, and nobody had any money to pay their taxes and all that. And they foreclosed on 9 properties. That's how many had fallen behind over a 9-year period. 9 properties. There's now like 700 properties on the city foreclosure list. And you never hear anything out of the administration saying that maybe the taxes are too high here.
Well,
a fellow we both know, a guy who used to work with you in the police department, moved to North Carolina a few years ago, and he calls me up and he's chuckling, as most former police officers do after they've retired and moved out of here. And he had bought a 3-bedroom ranch for $125,000 in North Carolina, 5 miles from the ocean. His annual taxes are $400. Whereas here, he would be paying $6,000 to $7,000 for that same property.
I know.
Now, you wonder why people move out of here? You wonder why there's so many for sale signs?
To be honest with you, it's going to be a hard cycle to change. The foreclosures is another separate. I mean, we're paying school taxes on these properties that we haven't taken ownership of.
Right.
So every year you're sending this school out.
Right, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah.
So, but listen, it's not going to be easy to reverse this pattern. It's going to take.
You first have to recognize that it's a problem.
Exactly.
And if you don't recognize it's a problem, then forget it.
And we can't spend when we don't know where we stand. Really, there should be really some sort of
management.
Well, I think we should have a freeze until we know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think we should be doing anything other than that affects public safety, obviously, but we shouldn't be spending any extra money until we get a clear view on where we stand financially.
Well, Ron tried to do that, and they raked him over the coals until he just couldn't take it anymore.
It just makes common sense, right? I mean, if you're running a household and
you're preaching to the choir, Michael.
We have to get things under control first, and then move forward.
Yeah. I think one of the big mistakes they made was giving the town a 40-year contract on the water.
But it's done.
It's done. So
you got to deal with it.
That's it.
We tried to get the water rate based on their increase in taxes up in the area.
That's it.
And
that's like 10 years would have been a nice number.
Yeah, it would be almost over by now.
yeah.
Then you have that great thing called negotiation.
Oh yeah, negotiation.
Well, the problem is that because of the way the contract was written, in order to raise their rate in the town, we have to raise the rate in the city. So it's a double whammy.
Yep. Yeah. Oh well. We need somebody who's going to be able to look at those figures and sit down and see where the waste is.
And I think we've got them.
Well, we're going to do our best.
Poor Michael, I pray for you every day. Not that you win, that you survive.
Listen, I think
poor Michael, he's lost his mind. My friend has lost his mind. I was 32 when I ran. I didn't know any better.
I think my dad will be there to offer the right advice at the right time.
Yes, he will.
Oh, sure.
And we have a strong family, so
all right.
We'll do good.
Well, I guess that about wraps it up here. Michael Villa, good luck on your campaign.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome back anytime.
All right.
And Jim and I will be back on Monday, hopefully with Gavin.
Yeah.
Until then,
Michael, I'm glad you were here. It was a pleasure.
This has been The Show with No Name. You're listening to WCSS 1490 on your dial in Amsterdam, New York.